Hi, I'm Mark Gaylor. In this tutorial I want to show you how you can add flare in a controlled way in post-production using Photoshop elements. Now flare is sometimes a problem when we're photographing and can wreck or ruin some of our images, but ever so occasionally it actually adds to the drama or character of an image that we're working with. It's actually quite difficult to control in camera, and this is why I prefer to actually control flare in post-production. Now I'll show you a before and after of this image that I'm working on. I'll just hold down the Alt key or Option key and click on that background layer so we can see a before and after. The sunlight is just out of frame on the left hand side. Occasionally if you're not using a lens hood, you can actually get that sunlight hitting the surface of the lens, and that then creates the flare effect. I'll just switch the flare back on by Alt or Option clicking that visibility icon once again. Now the layers that I'm using to create this flare effect are actually real flare that I've captured in camera and then add to the mixture when I'm working in post-production, and both of these flare files have been placed in the screen blend mode. Okay, now when I'm working with my flare files, I've actually got a folder of resource images, and these can be downloaded with the action when you want to play this. Okay, so let's take a look at the flare files that I've created. I'll just come to File and Open, and we'll take a look at the flare files that I've created. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these flare files. I'll just come to the index sheet, and there's actually 20 included in each of the folder, 20 for horizontal and 20 for vertical. We'll take a closer look at one of these flare files, and you can see that this is real flare, not digitally created flare, and so we've got the beautiful shift in colors and also some of the lens artifacts, and this is the light bouncing between the lens elements to create these beautiful artifacts here. We've got a variety of different effects here with a variety of different colors. We've also got some options for when the sunlight or artificial light comes into view, into frame. This is actually sunlight with a nice flare effect, and also color artifacts. And we've got some created using LED lights as well, creating these unusual patterns and colors here. Okay, so let's close that, and we'll cancel out there. We'll take a look at another example of flare added in post-production. Here's an abandoned car, and we've got this beautiful aged flare look, slight warm yellow highlights and blue shadows, and this is one of the options in the action pack that you download. You can add the aged look as well as the flare. And to show you before, just Option or Alt click that visibility icon to show you the before. Now it's worth noting to pick images where we do have a light coming in from the side. This isn't really appropriate action to play to images where the light is behind you. Okay, so we're looking into the sun or where the sunlight is just out of the frame. Okay, so let's take a quick look at how we can simply and quickly apply the flare to a number of different images. Okay, we come to the guided edit menu. Now I've preloaded the action into the actions folder inside of Photoshop Elements, so I'll just come to the action player. I'll select the flare actions from the first menu here, and then I'll choose the option that I want. I'll start simply with the single flare, and then I'll hit the play action button. Now this help dialog is inviting me to browse to the flare folder. This is the folder that contains all of the files of flare, and it's also reminding me that if it doesn't quite fit the host image that I'm working with, then I can resize or reposition the flare after the action has finished playing. So I'll hit continue. I'll browse to my flare folder here, and we're going to pick one of the ones that where the lighting is in the top right hand corner here. This will match the image. The shadows are being cast to the left, so we're going to need to select one where the sunlight is in the top right hand corner, and then we hit place. Now we just need to hit that commit current operation, and this will render the size and also the blend mode to this image. And if it isn't a precise fit, then I can fix that up in the full edit space there. Okay, if you don't like the flare applied to this particular image, we just need to do the Control Z or Command Z to undo that, and then we can choose an alternative flare option or action to play. Okay, let's return to the full edit menu and choose a second image file. This one has got an image in the background, and I want the sunlight to be flaring through this window. Okay, so again we'll go to the guided edit, hit the action player, APE flare, single flare, play action. I'm going to browse to my flare folder. This time, however, I'm going to come to the master flare folder and choose one of the vertical options, and we're going to scroll down to one where the sunlight is in shot, here number flare 18, and hit place. Now this is a different aspect ratio, you see it's not making good coverage, but we're going to commit that current operation, and then we can proceed to the full edit space to resize this flare. Just need to select the flare layer, and then we're going to use the keyboard shortcut for free transform. That's Command T on a Mac or Control T on a PC. And I'm also going to uncheck the constrain proportions in the options bar here. And now I'm free to move that sun perhaps to the left. Make sure we've got good coverage on the right hand side as well. And we can also perhaps raise the height of that sun to just to drop it precisely into that window area before I hit that commit current operation. Okay, now we can actually hit the layer mask on this file. If we want to restore any detail to this image, then I'll just press the D to set the foreground and background colors to their default, and then the X key to put black as the foreground color. I'll just lower the opacity around 20 or 30%, and now I'll paint into the layer mask just to restore a little bit of detail in the primary subject matter there. And again, before and after, Alt or Option click that background layer. They're a lovely portrait, but perhaps with a little bit more drama with that flare coming through that window there. Okay, let's try one of the double flare options here. Okay, I'll just throw these layers away, and so we can start from scratch by going into the guided edit and then the action player. This time we'll not only choose the double flare, but we'll choose the double flare plus aged photo look, and then we'll play that action. Again, we'll browse to the folder. I'll need to go back to my horizontal files, and we're going to choose flare 1 or flare 2. We've got a number of different options here. Flare 4 would also suffice with the sunlight in the top left hand corner, and then we'll hit place. Okay, and then we'll hit that current operation, and then it'll invite me to go back and place a second flare file here. So we'll hit the continue, and we'll perhaps go to flare number 5 or maybe number 3. I'm looking for one of these where we got artifacts of the lens elements in here. So I'm going to choose flare 3 and then hit the place button. Okay, and hit that commit current operation again. Now after that is played, we go automatically the aged photo look is added to this photo. And we can go back to the full edit menu if we need to resize. There's a slight crop on this master image, so these two layers don't quite fit, although it's not immediately apparent here. So I'm just going to select both of these files, hit the Command or Control T for free transform, and just increase the size of this flare layers slightly. Okay, before hitting the commit current operation, just to make sure they fit my host file. Okay, so that's how we can control or add flare in post-production. You'll also notice that we do have the option of playing with the layer mask, not only on the flare files but also on the adjustments. If I just hold down the shift key and click on that one, you can see that I did actually want the light to continue flaring over this side. So what I've done is I've put a gradient, black-white gradient at reduced opacity through this layer mask here, just so we can have a little bit more thinner tones without the rich blacks on this right hand side. Okay, so that completes the tutorial. As I said, go to markgaler.com to download the action pack plus all of those flare files, which will act as a resource for future projects.